Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being truly well-informed. Today, we're tackling something really out there, something that pushes the boundaries of what we even mean by life.
It's a big one, yeah.
What if existence isn't just about, carbon and water and sunlight? What if life is woven into the universe in ways we can barely imagine?
Ways that challenge everything we thought we knew.
Exactly.
Okay.
For decades, dark matter. Well, it's been the universe's quiet scaffolding, right? Invisible, kind of inert.
The standard picture, yeah. Just this passive stuff providing extra gravity.
Yeah.
A bit boring, honestly, from a particle physics perspective.
Huh. Boring, right? But what if that whole picture is just wrong? Or at least incomplete?
That's where things get really interesting.
What if this huge chunk of the universe, this dark matter, is actually buzzing with complexity, its own physics, maybe even its own life? So that's our mission today. We're diving deep into some really groundbreaking ideas about dark matter's potential. Not just looking for little green men on distant planets,
No, this is fundamentally different.
We're talking about life that might exist in a totally separate realm, woven into the cosmos itself. And our guide through this is going to be insights from physicists like Lisa Randall, Sean Carroll,
Caught people in the field.
and especially the work of Jay Alfred. We're really focusing on his article, How to Identify a Dark Matter Life Form, and some of his other related ideas. So get ready, because this might just change how you see, well, everything.
It's genuinely fascinating how quickly the science is moving here. I mean, for the longest time, dark matter was just pictured as this single, lonely particle, wasn't it?
Yeah, super simple, non-interacting, slow.
Basically just hanging out, gravitationally speaking. But the data, the models, they've pushed us beyond that.
Towards what exactly?
Towards this idea of a dark sector. It's almost like a parallel universe in a way. But right here, interpenetrating ours, filled with its own stuff.
Okay, a dark sector.
And the key thing is, this isn't just, wild speculation because the old model is dull. It's a logical step. It comes from trying to solve real puzzles in cosmology, things that don't quite add up with the simple picture.
Right, it's driven by the science itself.
Right.
It really is mind-boggling how fast our picture of something so fundamental can change. Like you said, the old view was this single, kind of sluggish, inert particle.
Felt only through gravity. Completely aloof from us, from ordinary matter.
But that story is shifting dramatically.
Yeah.
Jay Alfred, whose work we're digging into, puts it nicely. Leading scientists are now proposing that not all dark matter may be so inert and boring.
And that's the key phrase, not all.
Yeah. And it's not some fringe idea.
Right.
We're talking Lisa Randall at Harvard, Sean Carroll at Caltech.
Heavy hitters.
For over a decade, they've been pushing this idea of a dark sector, like a hidden realm with its own dark particles,
With their own dark charge.
interacting through their own dark light. Did I get that right?
You did. It completely flips the script on that simple single particle view. It opens up this huge landscape of possibilities.
Wow.
Exactly. Lisa Randall said it back in 2015, something like, given how complex our matter is, the standard model.
Quarks, electrons, all that zoo.
Right. All that complexity in just 15% of the universe's matter. She said, it seems very odd to assume that all of dark matter, which is the other 85%, is composed of only one type of particle.
That makes so much sense when you put it like that. It would be kind of arrogant to assume it's simpler than our stuff, wouldn't it?
It really would. And what's fascinating is Jay Alfred was thinking along very similar lines even earlier, back in 2005.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wrote something very prescient. Since dark matter makes up about 85% of all the matter in the universe, it would be simplistic to assume that they would be composed of only one type of particle. There's probably a great diversity of particles and energies or forces included in dark matter.
So he was ahead of the curve on this complex dark sector idea.
Seems like it. That foresight is pretty remarkable. He was already thinking about diversity in the dark sector.
And this dark light idea, that's particularly wild.
It is. Randall proposed, dark matter might have its own forces we don't feel. And the force carrier, the equivalent of our photon, would be a dark photon, communicating via dark light.
A whole separate interaction system.
Exactly. And again, Alfred back in 2005 talked about dark light or superlight, composed of superphotons. Parallel thinking a decade apart. It paints this picture of a much richer, self-contained dark realm.
Okay, but is this just like theoretical elegance, or does it have broader acceptance?
Oh, it's being taken very seriously. Sean Carroll at Caltech, he's said explicitly these ideas are worth taking seriously.
Okay.
Back in 2013, he was already talking about dark photons and a dark force resembling ordinary electromagnetism. He noted they fit reasonably well with what we actually observe about dark matter dynamics.
So the scientific community is genuinely exploring this, a dark sector with its own physics.
Wow. It's a major shift, not just inert stuff, but potentially a whole hidden universe with its own rules.
So if we picture this dark sector as this invisible universe running alongside ours, that's quite a thought.
It is.
Gravity is the link, right? The common language both sides understand. That's how we found dark matter in the first place.
Through its gravitational effects on galaxies, yeah.
Yeah, but the idea that dark matter has its own internal language, its own forces, that's the game changer.
Absolutely. J.D. Clark and Robert Foote in Melbourne, they put it quite technically in 2015, but the gist was dark matter could have a really rich structure,
Okay.
especially if it lives in a hidden sector with its own interactions. They talked about a dark U1 gauge interaction and a massless dark photon.
Whoa, okay, translating that.
Yeah. Basically, it means dark matter particles could interact with each other through their own unique dark force, kind of like our electromagnetism, carried by these dark photons, a whole self-contained system.
Okay, got it. Like its own version of electricity and magnetism.
Something like that, yeah. And this isn't just neat theory, it actually helps solve problems.
Like what?
Well, these models of self-interacting dark matter, SEDM they call it.
Right, where dark matter bumps into itself.
Exactly. Those models actually do a better job explaining how dark matter is distributed in galaxies, especially in smaller ones. It's not just a smooth blob. There are structures that SIDM explains better.
Okay.
And these models also suggest something called dark radiation. Kapling Hat, Pan, and you pointed this out in 2018. They found that fitting SEDM to both galaxies and galaxy clusters suggests dark matter was made asymmetrically, like more dark matter than dark antimatter, and implies this dark radiation exists.
Asymmetrically.
Yeah.
Like our matter. We have matter, but almost no antimatter.
Precisely. And it hints at a much more dynamic early universe, even in the dark sector, far from inert.
This SEDM stuff sounds like a really big deal then.
Oh, it is. The implications are huge. Lisa Randall, for instance, she proposed that maybe a big chunk of dark matter is self-interacting, maybe as much as ordinary matter.
As much as, wait, ordinary matter is about 15% of all matter.
Exactly. So she suggested maybe another 15% is this self-interacting kind. Her team called it partially interacting dark matter.
So one type that just does gravity and another type that does gravity plus this dark force.
That's the idea. And if that's right, it means maybe 30% of the universe's matter is actually dynamic and interacting, not just 15%. Half visible, half dark, but interacting.
That's a lot more active reality than we thought.
It really is. And both Randall and Carroll suggested this interacting type might carry a weak dark charge.
The basis for that dark electromagnetism.
Right. Randall noted the constraints don't rule it out, they just limit how strong it can be. Others have run with this, proposing maybe a weak, long-range dark force like a feeble electromagnetism,
Okay.
and maybe even a weak short-range fifth force, perhaps linked to particles like axions that could allow tiny interactions with our matter too. Still theoretical, but being explored.
And this dark charge has consequences for where dark matter ends up.
Definitely. Kapling Hat, Ren, and Yu showed in 2019 that SEDM behaves differently depending on the concentration of normal matter, the baryons.
Toso.
In galaxies with lots of ordinary matter packed in the center, the SEDM actually gets denser there too, pulled in and interacting. It sort of follows the ordinary matter distribution.
Ah, so they're not totally independent.
No.
Hmm.
And Jay Alfred, again, back in 2005, he anticipated this, talking about a cooperative process between dark and ordinary matter in building structures. They shape each other.
Wow. Okay, so that leads to structures.
And it leads to Lisa Randall's dark disk theory, which is fascinating.
Tell me about the dark disk.
Because this self-interacting dark matter can lose energy by interacting with itself, kind of like how gas cools down, it would naturally settle. It wouldn't stay in a big puffy halo.
And collapse.
It collapses into a thin, flat disk right in the middle of the galaxy, aligned with the spiral arms, the galactic plane.
So an invisible disk sitting right where the Milky Way's visible disk is.
Exactly. She described it as a dark disk embedded inside the wider disk of the Milky Way plane, like two cosmic pancakes stacked together.
Okay, mind slightly blown.
And here's where it gets really close to home. Our solar system, We orbit within that galactic plane, right?
Well,
We even bob up and down through it over millions of years.
yep.
So Randall pointed out, if this dark disk exists, we'd pass through it. Any dark matter near Earth or captured by Earth would likely be this self-interacting kind from the disk.
We could be in it right now.
We might be. She mentioned in 2015 that based on star movements, we passed through the central plane relatively recently, cosmically speaking. If the disk is a bit thick, we might even be inside it.
Okay, that brings dark matter from out there to literally right here.
Right into our neighborhood. And one more layer, asymmetric self-interacting dark matter, or ACID.
Asymmetric,
Yeah.
meaning no anti-dark matter.
Pretty much. There was a hypothesis back in 2011 by Davudiassel and others. Maybe dark antimatter wiped out ordinary antimatter in the early universe?
Which would explain why we see so little ordinary antimatter today.
Exactly. And it implies dark matter itself is asymmetric, mostly just dark matter particles, not anti-dark matter. Randall reached a similar conclusion.
Does SIDM predict this asymmetry?
Generally, yes. Kaplinhat, Pan, and Yu noted in 2018 that SIDM models generically prefer asymmetric DM.
So, putting it all together, the dark matter near us in the solar system on Earth. It's likely this ACID stuff, asymmetric, self-interacting.
That's the picture that emerges from these leading theories. And the crucial part is, this type of dark matter could overlap with us, be right here, without interacting strongly other than gravity.
Which has profound implications.
Profound is the word. An invisible, interacting reality potentially permeating our own.
Okay, so after all that, what does it actually mean for us right here, right now? We've got this picture of complex, interacting dark matter forming disks, but that still feels kind of galactic scale. But the implication is, it's not just out there, it's here. In our solar system, maybe even on Earth. Jay Alfred really digs into this in his article, how much of Earth is composed of dark matter.
It's a crucial question.
And think about it, all those incredibly expensive experiments, deep underground, out in space.
Billions spent.
Why spend all that money trying to detect dark matter particles here if we didn't think they were here? It kind of implies we already assume it's local, doesn't it?
This is a very practical point, yeah. The hunt is happening on Earth, assuming the quarry is nearby. And the evidence for local dark matter is actually building up from quite a few different angles.
Like what? Where are we seeing hints?
Well, first, look at spacecraft and satellites. Back in 2014, Professor Ben Harris at Texas University used GPS data, incredibly precise stuff from GPS, GLONASS, Galileo.
The satellites we use for navigation.
Exactly, to measure Earth's mass. And his calculations suggested Earth is actually heavier than the official number.
More massive. How?
The implication is a dark matter halo bound to Earth, adding just a bit of extra invisible mass. Wow.
Even earlier, Princeton researchers suggested weird changes in probe speeds during Earth flybys might be caused by Earthbound dark matter subtly tugging on them.
Like a hidden gravitational nudge.
Sort of. And remember the Pioneer anomaly, those spacecraft slowing down unexpectedly at the edge of the solar system.
Yeah, that was a long-standing puzzle.
Marcus Chown suggested clumps of dark matter out there could be responsible. Extra gravity we weren't accounting for.
Okay, so subtle effects on our tech. What else?
Then there's the idea of dark matter clouds. Jörg Diamond at UC Santa Cruz ran simulations. They calculated something like 1 billion small dark matter clouds drifting through the galaxy's halo.
1 billion.
Huge number. And they estimate one passes through our patch, through Earth, roughly every 10,000 years, and the passage lasts about 50 years.
So we could be drifting through one right now and not even know it.
We absolutely could. In fact, Priscilla Frisch at University of Chicago thinks the solar system is currently inside one of these interstellar clouds.
She thinks we're in one now. Based on what? By analyzing starlight, cosmic rays, looking for subtle effects. She figures we entered this cloud maybe 2,000 to 8,000 years ago.
Which is basically when human civilization got going. Weird.
It's an intriguing coincidence, yeah. And then there's just the constant dark matter rain.
Rain.
Well, the Milky Way is mostly dark matter, right? Maybe 90%. And we're orbiting through its halo at high speed, 220 kilometers a second.
So we're constantly plowing through it.
Exactly, like driving through an invisible fog. Scientists estimate that every single kilogram of normal matter on Earth, you, me, this table gets hit by maybe 1,000 dark matter particles, like WIMPs, every single day.
1,000 hits a day. We don't feel it.
They interact very weakly, remember? But it's a constant flux, an invisible rain.
Okay, that's pervasive.
And if the sun has captured dark matter, as Lydia Lopez and Joseph Silk suggested...
Like a reservoir inside the sun.
Yeah, if the sun has that, just like it blows out the solar wind of plasma, it might also blow out a dark matter wind.
Ah, like the solar wind, but invisible particles.
Trillions of them hitting Earth every second, potentially. Another constant stream from our own star.
Okay, let's pause there. This idea of dark matter being everywhere in clouds, rain, wind, maybe even inside Earth.
Yeah.
It bumps up against Newton's laws, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, if Earth is heavier, if there's all this extra gravity around, shouldn't the planets be orbiting weirdly? Shouldn't we see obvious problems with Newton's gravity?
Ah, right. That's a really important question, and Jay Alfred addresses this very clearly. It's subtle.
Okay.
A really dense halo of dark matter around the whole solar system, yes, that would mess up orbits noticeably. We don't see that.
Right.
But a lower density halo, combined with dark matter inside the planets and the sun, that actually doesn't violate Newton's laws.
How come? More mass is more mass, isn't it?
Because the dark matter just adds to the total mass of, say, Earth. If Earth had the exact same measured mass, but it was half ordinary matter and half dark matter, its gravitational pull on the moon would still follow Newton's laws perfectly for that total mass.
Ah, okay. The law still works. It's just that we've been assuming the mass is only ordinary matter.
Exactly. That's the critical point Jay Alfred makes. Our calculations for the mass of Earth, moon, sun, they've always ignored any possible dark matter contribution. We measure the gravity, calculate the mass, and just assume it's all normal stuff.
So we might have been unknowingly including dark matter mass in our calculations all along, just calling it ordinary.
Precisely. We attribute all the gravity we measure solely to the visible stuff.
Okay, that's a huge potential oversight.
Yeah.
Do we have any estimates for how much dark matter might actually be here?
We do. Some are theoretical, some based on those subtle effects we mentioned.
Let's hear them. Dark matter around Earth.
You and Siegel at Arizona calculated theoretical densities. And Stephen Adler at Princeton, back in 2009, he had that idea about the Earth-Moon system.
Right. If their combined mass seems more than their separate masses.
Yeah. He used super precise laser ranging to the moon and satellite data and estimated maybe 24 trillion metric tons of dark matter between the Earth and moon.
24 trillion tons. That sounds like a lot.
It is, but space is big. He figured the density would peak around 70,000 kilometers out from Earth, and he suggested this halo could explain those little spacecraft anomalies. Pioneer, Galileo, Cassini. A single explanation.
Okay, interesting. What about inside the Earth? Dark matter in Earth's core.
David Peat estimated the core could be up to 10% shadow matter, his term for dark matter.
10%.
Could be. And again, any gravity from that would have just been rolled into our calculation of the core's ordinary mass.
How would it get trapped there?
The idea is, over billions of years, dark matter particles passing through Earth might occasionally interact weakly with normal matter, lose a tiny bit of energy, and eventually get caught by Earth's gravity sinking to the core. Or maybe it was just there from the start, part of the planet's formation.
And the moon, too. Dark matter in the moon's core.
Alan Lowy proposed that. He suggested dark matter in the moon's core might even help explain ocean tides, adding to the moon's gravitational influence.
Wow. Okay, so summing this up, Jay Alfred puts together an overall density picture.
Yeah, he synthesizes it. High density in Earth's core, drops off towards the surface, then increases out to that peak around 70,000 kilometers, then drops up towards the moon, and peaks again in the moon's core.
Like nested spheres of varying density.
Kind of. And the big takeaway is all this points to dark matter not being some remote cosmic thing. It's potentially an intrinsic part of our local environment. Here, now.
Okay, this is where it gets really wild for me. If dark matter interacts with itself, maybe has a weak charge,
Yeah.
we're starting to bridge the gap, right? From invisible stuff to plasma.
That's the next logical step many are exploring.
Which brings us to Jay Alfred's big question.
Yeah.
Is dark matter a complex dark plasma?
A very provocative question, grounded in the physics we've been discussing.
Sean Carroll was thinking about this too, wasn't he? Back in 2008.
He was. He basically said, look, if dark matter interacts via some dark electromagnetism, especially if that force isn't super weak, then it's essentially a plasma.
And understanding how galaxies form would need dark magnetohydrodynamics.
Exactly. The physics of charged fluids, but applied to dark matter. It implies dark matter isn't just particles, it's a dynamic fluid.
And Alfred was on this even earlier, like 2005.
Yeah, remarkably early. He was already discussing both interacting and non-interacting dark matter potentially being in a plasma state. He was conceptualizing dark electromagnetism, and dark magnetohydrodynamics way back then.
What led him to that conclusion?
He looked at various astronomical observations and theoretical ideas and concluded, all this indicates that dark matter, just like visible matter, is largely in the form of plasma. Really ahead of the game.
Okay, before we go further, maybe a quick reminder. What exactly is plasma?
Good point. So solids, liquids, gases. Plasma is often called the fourth state. It's basically ionized gas.
Meaning the electrons aren't bound to the atoms anymore.
Right. They're stripped off, forming this soup of free electrons and positively charged ions. And because they're charged, they interact over long distances via electromagnetism. This gives plasma complex collective behaviors you don't see in neutral gas.
And most of the visible universe is plasma, right?
Over 99%. The sun, stars, hot gas between galaxies, auroras, even fluorescent lights and neon signs rely on plasma. It's actually the dominant state of ordinary matter, not exotic at all.
Okay, so plasma is common. Why would self-interacting dark matter likely be in this state? What's the argument?
There are several key reasons, building on what we've discussed.
Lay them out for us.
Okay, number one, that weak dark charge. If Carroll and Randall are right, and it's maybe 100 times weaker than our electromagnetism.
Yeah.
That weak attraction makes it harder for dark particles to actually bind together into stable dark atoms. They'd be more likely to stay ionized, stay as a plasma, even at lower temperatures. It takes less energy to keep them apart.
Right, weaker binding favors plasma. Makes sense. What else?
Two, slow-moving particles. Many dark matter candidates, like WIMPs, are thought to be heavy and therefore slow. Axions might be slow for other reasons. Slower speeds mean fewer and less energetic collisions. Fewer chances to knock electrons off if dark atoms formed, but also less chance for them to stick together in the first place. Again, favors plasma.
Less interaction, stays ionized. Got it.
3. Neutral dark matter particles shielding. Remember, dark matter is likely a mix, lots of neutral stuff, maybe fewer charged particles. This is like complex or dusty plasma in the lab.
How does that help?
The huge number of neutral particles, maybe 4 times as many as charged ones, can actually shield the charged particles from each other, weakening their long-range interactions. This also makes it harder to form atoms and pushes the whole system towards behaving like a plasma.
Okay, shielding effect. Interesting.
4. Collective behavior is inherently plasma-like. This is key. Even if only a tiny fraction of dark matter was ionized, say 1%, the whole system would still behave collectively like a plasma because of those long-range electromagnetic interactions of the charged component.
So the overall behavior is plasma, even if not every particle is charged.
Exactly. The system's dynamics would be governed by dark plasma physics, dark magnetohydrodynamics. It would act like a fluid.
Okay, that's a strong theoretical case. But is there any, observational evidence? Do we see plasma-like features in dark matter?
This is where it gets really compelling. We actually do see things that look remarkably like known plasma phenomena.
Like what?
Okay, remember those lab experiments creating plasma crystals, Coulomb balls with particles in concentric shells?
Yeah, you mentioned those.
Well, Jay Alfred pointed out back in 2005, astronomers have observed similar faint shells in the dark matter halos around some elliptical galaxies, like up to 20 distinct shells.
Whoa. Actual shells in dark matter halos.
Observed structures that look just like plasma shells. Alfred called it strong evidence for dark plasma.
Okay, that's pretty direct. What else?
Shock fronts and Macha cones. Simulations of galaxy clusters colliding, like the bullet cluster. If you include a dark plasma component, it behaves like plasma should. Spethman and colleagues showed in 2017 the dark plasma forms shock fronts that dissipate energy, and Mach cones, like sonic booms in air, but in the dark plasma. It acts like a fluid experiencing shocks.
And have we seen those?
Yes. Gravitational lensing studies of colliding clusters like Abel 520 seem to show exactly these kinds of shock features in the dark matter distribution. Heikenheimo and others pointed this out in 2015. Observation seems to match the plasma simulation predictions.
Wow. That feels like strong support.
It really does, and this plasma behavior even ties back neatly to Randall's dark disk.
How?
Spethman noted that for a dark plasma to cool and collapse into a disk, it needs something like a light dark electron to radiate energy away. It fits together logically.
A self-consistent picture.
Exactly. So to wrap this section up, Jay Alfred's been advocating this for a long time. His 2008 dark plasma theory explicitly postulates dark matter is a non-standard or superplasma.
And his view of dark matter near Earth.
In a nutshell, it's asymmetric, no significant anti-dark matter, and it's a complex plasma, a mix of interacting charged particles and neutral ones. This complex plasma nature, Well, that's the crucial foundation for the next really mind-bending step.
Okay, prepare yourselves, folks, because this is where we take a leap. A huge one, but maybe a logical one.
It's definitely provocative.
If dark matter is this complex interacting plasma, could it? Could it actually support life? Dark life?
That's the ultimate implication being explored.
Even Lisa Randall, known for being pretty grounded, she mused about this, right? Called it an extravagant leap of possibility.
She did. In 2015, she wrote about how interacting dark matter could form dark stars surrounded by dark planets made of dark atoms. And then, this new kind of dark matter might even allow the existence of dark life.
A whole dark cosmology, potentially including biology.
The full spectrum.
And Sean Carroll, even earlier in 2008, he was thinking along these lines too.
Yeah, he was quite direct. He said, imagine more than one type of dark particle with dark charge. Then we would be able to make dark atoms and could start writing papers on dark chemistry.
Dark chemistry.
And then he added, you know that dark biology is not far behind. He saw the pathway. Complexity, chemistry, biology.
So these top physicists are saying it's a plausible, logical extension.
If the underlying premises about interacting dark matter hold up, yes, it's speculative, but follows a certain logic.
And this is where Jay Alfred really dives in, proposing actual dark plasma life forms.
Exactly. He takes these possibilities and tries to build a framework. What might such life be like? How would it work? How could we even spot it?
So how do we bridge that gap from plasma physics to actual life? Where do we look for clues?
Jay Alfred suggests we look at what ordinary plasma does right here in the lab. It makes the idea less sci-fi, more an extrapolation of observed phenomena.
Okay, so what have we seen? Plasma life forms created in the laboratory. Is that real?
It's remarkable stuff. Back in 2007, Lazignano and colleagues did experiments where they generated these self-organizing plasma cells.
It made them.
They emerged spontaneously, an electrical spark on an electrode in cold plasma. And these stable, luminous, roughly spherical blobs would just form.
Blobs of plasma. What was life like about them?
Well, they had structure. A sort of nucleus surrounded by an electrical double layer, a plasma sheath.
Like a cell membrane.
Very analogous. Lazignano argued this sheath acted like a membrane, enclosing an internal environment, controlling energy and matter exchange, allowing internal processes, basically doing cell-like things.
Okay.
And these things could detach, float free, replicate by dividing, even send and receive information.
Plasma cells dividing. That's eerie.
Lazignano himself believed they were potentially capable of evolving further, maybe even towards biochemical life. He saw it as a possible pathway.
Wow. But skepticism. Surely people push back.
Oh, absolutely. Gregoire Nicolas pointed out the obvious issue. How could complex molecules like DNA survive in hot plasma?
Right. Seems like a fair point.
It does, but it raises that crucial question. Are we assuming life needs DNA made of atoms like ours?
Could there be? Plasma-based DNA, is that even conceivable?
This is where Vian Sitovich and his team come in. Russian Academy of Science, also around 2007, they ran computer simulations.
What did they find?
They found that particles in plasma can spontaneously self-organize into incredibly complex structures. Sitovich stated these structures exhibit all the necessary properties to qualify them as candidates for inorganic living matter.
Inorganic living matter. What properties?
Autonomy, reproduction, evolution, the hallmarks of life.
How? What did these structures look like?
Crucially, they found the plasma self-organized into stable, interacting helical structures that exhibit features normally attributed to organic living matter.
Helical structures, like DNA.
Exactly like DNA. Double helices formed spontaneously in the plasma simulation. These helices could store information, memory marks, replicate, even carry out metabolic-like activities.
Plasma DNA.
Yeah.
Just blows my mind.
It's incredible. Sitovich concluded these could be candidates for inorganic life, given the right conditions to evolve. Even others, like Uehara back in 2000, suggested plasma physics concepts like double layers are relevant for understanding biological cell membranes. There's a deep connection being explored.
Okay, let me try to connect this.
Yeah.
Ordinary plasma in labs and simulations can spontaneously form cell-like structures with membranes and even DNA-like helices that can replicate and store info.
That's what the research indicates, yes. Plasma naturally forms these bounded, minimal systems.
So if dark matter is a complex plasma,
then it's not such a wild leap to think that dark plasma could follow a similar evolutionary path. Dark plasma life forms exhibiting similar principles, maybe similar structures, to what we see in ordinary plasma.
The analogy is powerful. If it happens here, why not there?
Exactly, which leads us right back to that critical question. If they could exist, how on Earth or off Earth would we actually identify them?
Right. That's the ultimate question. If this isn't just fantasy, how do we look for it? Let's dive into Jay Alfred's approach in how to identify a dark matter life form. He actually tries to build a template.
Yeah, it's a really practical, innovative step. He proposes a humanoid DM lifeform template, but the humanoid part is more about mapping features onto a familiar form. The core idea is identifying generic features based on plasma physics.
Like how mammals all have hearts and lungs, even if they look totally different.
Exactly. He's asking, what are the fundamental organs or structures you'd expect in any complex plasma-based entity derived from plasma physics, not carbon chemistry?
Okay, so what are these proposed signature features? What should we be looking for?
Alfred outlines several, all based on known plasma behaviors.
Let's go through them. Number 1.
1. Cell body with concentric shells shielded by sheaths. The basic unit would likely be spherical or ovoid, like those lab plasma cells.
Yeah, a basic body shape.
Inside, you'd expect separation of plasma with different properties, temperature, density into distinct cells or regions, and these would be bounded by those electrical double layers, the sheaths.
The plasma membranes.
Right. They allow these nested concentric shells to form, separating different plasma characteristics. There are lab images showing exactly this structure, clear shells separated by sheaths. It's a fundamental way plasma organizes itself.
Okay, nested shells within a body. What's next?
2. Filaments. We see these everywhere in plasma pathways where electrical currents flow.
Like wires inside the body.
Sort of, yeah. And remember, Titovich's helical structures, the plasma DNA, those were essentially pairs of filaments twisted together. So filaments would be fundamental to internal structure and energy transport. The source material has images showing these helical currents in labs, looking surprisingly biological when you map them conceptually.
Wow. Okay, filaments carrying current. Number 3.
3. Vortexes. Where filaments cross or interact strongly, they can pinch each other, creating swirling vortexes of energy.
Little whirlpools of plasma.
Exactly. Very common in lab plasma. Alfred maps these onto potential points of high energy concentration or specialized function within the body template, like energy nodes.
Okay, vortexes as energy centers. And number 4.
4. Plasmoids. Inside these vortexes, you can get extremely bright, dense points of light and energy called plasmoids.
Like the core of the vortex.
Kind of. And given that plasma can bend light, refract, and reflect it, Alfred suggests these plasmoids, perhaps focused by the vortex structure acting like a lens, could potentially emit focused beams of dark light.
For communication. Or sensing.
Potentially, yeah. Active interaction within their own dark environment using dark light.
Okay, that's complex. What's the 5th feature?
5. Coronas, spicules, striations, granulation, CSSG. These are all surface features, typical of plasma bodies like our sun.
Like the sun's atmosphere and surface patterns.
Exactly. Coronas are halos, spicules are jets, striations are lines, granulation is that bubbly pattern. You'd expect the surface of a dark plasma body to show similar dynamics, reflecting the energetic processes within. The source images superimpose these onto a template to give a visual idea.
So internal structures and characteristic surface features all derive from plasma physics.
Precisely. And Alfred adds a couple more capabilities. They'd likely emanate their own dark electromagnetic fields.
Naturally.
And because plasma is great at interacting with electromagnetic waves, they could potentially receive and transmit information wirelessly, basically acting like complex plasma antennae.
Communicating and sensing through dark EM fields.
It paints a picture of a very different kind of biology, but one grounded in known physics.
So connecting this back, these aren't just random guesses. They're logical extensions of observed plasma behavior and the theoretical properties of interacting dark matter.
That's the key point. It's an attempt to build a scientifically plausible picture.
Which raises that massive question again. If this is plausible, what does it imply about life in the universe? Is our kind of life the exception, not the rule?
That's the direction this thinking inevitably leads, towards a potentially radical shift in perspective. Hashtag tag outro.
Wow. What a journey. We started with dark matter as just this boring, invisible stuff.
Yeah, simple picture.
And through the work of Randall, Carroll, and especially Jay Alfred's deep dive into this, We've seen it transform into this complex, interacting plasma. Own forces, own light, forming structures like dark disks right here in our galaxy.
A much richer, more dynamic view.
And then, that incredible leap, guided by Alfred's work and grounded in actual lab experiments with ordinary plasma, the possibility of dark plasma life forms.
With identifiable features based on plasma physics, shells, filaments, vortexes, plasmoid surface dynamics.
It provides a potential template, a way to even conceive of searching for such utterly alien life. So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you listening right now? It's this mind-bending possibility. Maybe life as we know it, carbon-based biology. Maybe it's the minority.
A tiny fraction, potentially.
Jay Alfred's conclusion really hits home here. If dark plasma life is possible, then just based on sheer abundance, dark matter outweighing our matter 5 or 6 to 1.
Logically, they would likely be the most common life forms in the universe. Far more common than us.
Our familiar biology could be the cosmic oddity.
Which leads to one final provocative thought.
Go on.
If our solar system orbits within a dark disk, if Earth itself might have dark matter deep inside, does that mean these potential dark life forms aren't just theoretical possibilities in distant galaxies?
Could they be? Here, now.
Could they be right here, in our cosmic backyard, unseen, unfelt, an invisible reality overlapping constantly with ours? It forces us to ask, what does alive even mean in a universe that might be so much stranger, so much richer than we ever imagined?
Something to ponder. Keep looking deeper. Keep questioning. The universe's greatest secrets might be hidden in plain sight, in the invisible majority. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.